We welcome you to another live edition of the Sports Box, brought to you by our friends at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use the box at sign up for 10 points. And here we go.
And welcome everybody to another edition here of Unsportsmanlike Conduct here on the Sports Box. I'm your host, Paul McCree, alongside co-host Big V, Mike Velarde. What's going on this evening, buddy?
What's up? What's going on? Big Eagles win yesterday. I'm back.
Please. Well, we're going to spend a good amount of at least the first half of the show talking about the game. Also, obviously, get into the Phillies hiring of Dave Dombrowski, as well as we'll cover Week 14 in the NFL as well, college football, championship week coming up in the conference championships. And we'll touch at the end, James Harden, obviously, the chances of the Sixers landing him maybe down the road. But first off, I mean, let's get right into it with the Eagles, obviously, with the upset win against the Saints yesterday, 24-21. Ended up hanging on to this one. They dominated the first half pretty much. Yeah. Jake Elliott misses a 22-yard field goal with no time left in the first half when, Jalen Hurts and the offense moves the ball right down the field to end the first half. Then the Saints offense woke up, made some adjustments in the second half. The Eagles lost about 4 or 5 defensive players in the second half. Yeah. And made it a semi, pretty much made it a game, cut it to 3 with 20 seconds left and almost got the onside kick. But
That's what they did.
The Eagles did hold on to win by 3. And, obviously the big talk is about the debut of Jalen Hurts under center, 167 yards passing. He rushed for over 100 yards easy. It was just an easy 18 carries for 106 yards. I would say at least half of those were design runs for him yesterday. What's your first thoughts? I mean, for me, I guess I'll put it off the bat here. Compared to Wentz has been all year, 2 things. Much more composed and better decision maker overall yesterday. I mean, that's pretty evident. He just took what was really there. Didn't force anything, didn't try to make these big Superman-like plays that Wentz always tries to make. Basically just took what was there, and obviously the running attack went off yesterday. Him and Miles Sanders had huge days.
Yeah, I was working all day yesterday, so I saw the second half. I didn't see the first half. So, pretty much from what I've been hearing, I listened to some sports talk this morning, just dissecting a little bit of the stats, saw that the Saints haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher in, 50-some games in a row?
55-game streak ends, which I can't believe it was that long.
2 guys, not 1. 2 did.
Not 1, 2.
So Miles Sanders had over 100, and Jalen Hurts had over 100. And listen, maybe that's the way you beat the Saints now. So, there aren't many other running quarterbacks. I guess you don't. I don't know if you want to describe Jalen Hurts as a running quarterback, but the game plan was a good game plan. This is what Doug needed to do with Carson Wentz a little bit. Get him out of the pocket. But like you said, it was very evident that Jalen Hurts has the ability to use his legs. There was a lot of RPOs going on, but a lot of the time, he knew he was in trouble, and he got out of the trouble. Right. He didn't take many sacks. Did he take any sacks?
No. Yeah, that's right. No sacks yesterday.
No sacks, but I saw a couple times when Malcolm Jenkins was in his face, and he threw the ball away.
Threw the ball away. Yeah.
You can't take 15, 20-yard sacks like when you're rolling out of the pocket trying to make plays as Wentz tries to do, which we love it.
And the touchdown pass that the Jeffrey was basically an all-out blitz, it seemed like, and just a nice back shoulder throw to Jeffrey, basically the only time he can ever get open or make a catch is those type of throws in the end zone. And, I mean, it was people are saying, why, I guess the people that are still trying to be on the pro Wentz side, I'm been down the middle with this whole thing and just trying to call how I say it. But the reason why they were able to dedicate more to the run yesterday is because they didn't fall behind for the first time in a long time. They didn't fall behind. And the defense is a lot to thank to that. The defense had 5 sacks yesterday and were in Taysom Hill's face a lot yesterday. Hill almost threw for 300 yards, but a lot of that was the second half production when they were trailing. But I thought, they were able to obviously some of those design quarterback draws, off tackle, even runs for, Hurts and, Sanders finally yesterday, the 82-yard run, obviously, late in the first half was huge going in the locker room. Well, at that point, you thought it was just going to be, 17-0 go in the locker room. And then they actually got the ball back with a chance. It should have put 3 more points up on the board before the half. But I thought it was a lot to do with they built a little bit of a lead in the first half, and they were able to stick with that dedication to run. So Hurts didn't have to throw the ball, 40 times. He ended up throwing it 30 yesterday, and he ran the ball 36 times. So
you can't beat that formula for success, though.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, if they fall behind 10-0 or 17-0 against Arizona this week, which you never know, that could definitely happen.
Yeah.
What do you think, they're going to stick with the run? No, they're going to throw the ball more. I mean, let's not kid ourselves that the game plan worked yesterday because first time and it seemed like forever that they had a lead and a 2-touchdown lead in the first half. I mean, I don't recall the last time they had a 2-touchdown lead in the first half. I mean, it's been forever. So
when's the last time they got out to a lead?
I think week one against Washington was probably the last time they were up. Well, they were up 17-0 in that game in the first half and lost, of course. But I think it's been that long since they had a lead of that size in the first half. So, or really of any type of lead. I mean, this is why this was only their 4th win yesterday. The reason why they've only won 4 games. So, yeah, I mean, the defense, I mean, listen, obviously with Hurts playing his first game and now today was the announcement that he's going to start again, but once again, Doug's not making this even though it looks like Chris Mortensen announced yesterday that this is going to be a full season thing, the rest of the season thing, which you would think it makes sense at this point that he's going to play the final 4 games. Maybe this was game 1 of 4. But Doug just said, going to be for this weekend in Arizona, keep the same thing going, and we'll see what happens. But, definitely encouraging signs for him. And obviously now more and more, the better that he plays as the weeks go on here, the final 3 games, more and more are going to be in this offseason about Wentz's future with this team. I mean, that's just basically the bottom line now. Yeah, I know. And I wasn't happy about that, Brian. It's hard. I was big on the draft pick thing, but obviously I would like – because this Eagles team's going nowhere regardless of if Hurts somehow pulls out a miracle and they win the final 3 games and somehow win this division, which they're mathematically still alive. I'm just saying.
Cares.
But, they did go from the 4th overall to 9th. Cowboys did themselves a big disservice yesterday as well, winning. Yeah. So I'll point that as well out to the Cowboys fan. Yeah. But, I wanted Hurts to play well, obviously, and this offense looked better yesterday, but I didn't think Hurts playing well would have meant that the Saints were going to lay the egg that they did yesterday, and they did. So, and you got to thank the defense for playing as well as they did.
Yeah, big thing this morning was on my way to work listening to WIP, which I listened to, I guess, just for the I don't even know why I listen to it. All they do is they rip on Wentz and a bunch of the, not that I'm a backer of Wentz right now, but the whole thing is like they were talking about Doug Peterson's press conference and how he was non-committal on how well Hurts played. I don't know if he felt bad about it because of Wentz. And listen, at this point, are we worried about Wentz's feelings at this point? Like, you had a quarterback that came in, he did the job. Praise him. Say that he did well. Say that he did well in his first start.
Yeah, I hear you. I think some people obviously are on that side that he didn't want to hurt Wentz's feelings after the game, but he turned it into about it was a team win, and that's all he wanted to keep it at last night. And he wanted to say that I got to watch the tape. He could have said that Jalen he did everything he can. Not he really to even barely mention his name last night.
He didn't want to mention his name.
That's how funny it was.
Yep.
Then today on WIP in the morning at 8 o'clock, he spoke to Angelo and obviously started to open up about Jalen. And then obviously the 12:30 press conference to the entire media. Then that's when he obviously went into the analysis of the tape even more. And he said he did, obviously did as well of a job as you could do. And he did have a fumble late in the game, which obviously, ball security. But when
nice
you run
punch,
the ball,
it was a nice punch.
It was.
He swung and he hit it.
Ron Alexander, the linebacker, did a nice job. But in that situation, you probably want to keep it away from when you're trying to burn the clock, you probably want to give it to actually a running back that is used to, carrying the ball more than Hurts is. I mean, Hurts is a dual threat quarterback, but he's not like a natural, running back as far as, I guess, from a ball security, holding onto the ball type of thing. Those quarterbacks are a little more loose with the ball. It's a different type of style when you're in the, coming out of shotgun and you're in that quarterback position as opposed to in the backfield as a running back.
Yep.
So I think that's part on the play calling as well, not to put it in, Sanders or Boston Scott's hand, late in the game to try to burn, instead of, keeping it with Hurts. But, I mean, you look yesterday at the what else they were able to do. I mean, you're talking about the Saints coming in as the number one overall defense yesterday and just took what the defense gave them. They didn't, they had the 39-yard, with the longest pass play was a 39-yard completion to Jalen Reagor. And that was a run after catch. I mean, I think it was a 10-yard completion, and then he exploded for the other 30-something yards. He should have, and I think this was on Reagor the other time where it was a little rollout to the right, and then Reagor coming across the field, and he had a lot of grass to work with. Just missed the fingertips, but it was almost like, his route running is still shaky, in my opinion.
Well, so when you're looking at Justin Jefferson tearing it up this year and a couple of the other guys they could have had, of course, we're going to scrutinize, Reagor and what he's doing. Yeah, but it was nice to see.
You could tell his athleticism was there.
Right. It was nice to see the reverse that he ran. The reverse that he ran was very nice.
19-yard run. Yeah.
Listen, they have to get him more involved. Mm-hmm. They have to give him 8 to 10 targets a game. They have to throw him the ball. You can't go through a game getting 3 passes thrown to you. You know what I mean? Like you took a guy in the first round, you got to play him. You got to get him involved as much as you can during the game.
And the other receivers right now aren't, Goddard led the team in targets with 6. He had 4 catches for 43 yards. Ertz was really non-existent. He only had 3 targets and 2 catches for 8 yards.
What is going to happen with him?
It's done. Think they're going to have.
They can't re-sign him.
No, he's got 1 year left anyway. So
there's no way they can't put an extension on him. There's no way.
No, they're going to try to. They're going to take whatever they can with 1 year left on his contract, and somebody will bite, but it's going to be like a 4th or 5th round pick.
When it could have been a second before the year started.
Or even 2 years ago when his value was its highest, certainly they could have netted a second round pick for him. Now that's out the window. You're looking at like a 4th or 5th here at this point. Yeah.
What's his contract for next year?
Not quite sure on the money situation. I just know it's just 1 year left. I don't know if it's 10 or 12, something like that, million. But I mean, at this point, Goddard is their top tight end. I mean, you drafted him 2 years ago for a reason. I know they envisioned this as no problem with the 2 tight end type set thing, but they've been phasing out Ertz and at this point, and Fulgham didn't even get on the stat sheet. Didn't even play yesterday.
Unbelievable.
I mean, he basically just got phased out altogether, and Alshon has taken all his snaps with only 1 catch, and that was a touchdown catch, reception. But the offense, the running game was the key yesterday. Obviously, 246, rushing yards as a team, only 167 receiving.
Yep.
But kudos to the defense too. Josh Sweat had a big game yesterday. He's having a nice season. 6 sacks now on the season. Quietly, kind of has put himself, in what was this? What's this? His the second year in the league. He's starting to really settle in and be a nice player for them. and they're one of the tops in the league in sacks. I mean, they get to the quarterback with, Jim Schwartz doesn't, blitz a lot, and they've been getting home a lot at this year. So that's been the good thing, overshadowed by, terrible quarterback play overall until yesterday. But another question.
I got a question for you.
Yeah, with the Eagles getting zero cap benefit from moving on from Wentz and being $90 million over next year's cap, how do you see this working out?
I don't.
Well, I don't know how it does. I really don't. I mean, it's not like another team like, the obvious, I guess, as far as a connection with, a coach that coached them as a coordinator and Colts and Frank Reich with, Rivers, who knows that this is his last year or not, knowing him, now that they're having the year they are and they're going to make the playoffs, he's going to probably get the itch again because that's just him. Just seems like he never wants to give it up. But why does he want to be home with 9 children, I guess, too? So maybe that's why. But make it 10. But anyway, I really don't. I mean, you think the Colts are going to just take on that 4-year, $128 million contract that's kicked in now? I really don't know. I think it's. I don't know.
Irsay dismissed the Andrew Luck coming back thing. So that might be one thing that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
you hear the buzz though. You hear a buzz about it. So maybe listen. What do they have to lose in getting a franchise guy that they think? And if Frank Reich could turn him around, if you're going to pay him the money, what's the difference? You're not going to have to give up anything, really. I don't think you're going to. Who's going to give up a second-round pick or whatever they want for him if you're taking on that much money? The Eagles are just going to give in at that point and say, "Okay, give us whatever."
You can't expect a reasonable draft pick in return for that type of contract, and based off the way he's been playing, it's almost like the Eagles
give us a 5th or a 6th and take the contract.
It's almost like the Eagles have to give a draft pick.
Right.
I don't know. It's almost got to be like a swap of picks or something. But I don't know. It's going to be some people that we know think it's just simple, just get rid of them. It's not going to be easy.
No, it's not.
So we know that.
Not at all.
And we know that, and we'll see. I mean, obviously, the next 3 weeks here will be the telling sign.
Yeah.
Where this is, where this is going to be headed, what type of offseason. I mean, I think, obviously, I think we could both agree that this is not going away anytime soon, and we're going to hear about this a lot, as we get, after the Super Bowl, in March and April, what's going to happen with Wentz if this continues.
So I just got a fit of laughter in my head.
Uh-huh.
So what happens if hypothetically Eagles win 4 in a row end of the year here? Okay. Right. Make the playoffs somehow.
7-8-1.
Somehow.
That would put them in the playoffs probably.
Listen.
Yeah.
Let's just say they win a playoff game or 2. Obviously.
Yeah.
What does that just take Carson Wentz and just say, dude, you suck mentally?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're
winning another Super Bowl. I'm not even talking about watching a back. Super Bowl. I'm just talking about getting into the playoffs and winning a game.
Right.
Like he might be like, dude, it's me.
Because he saw Foles, 2 years ago, not just the Super Bowl year, then the following year when he had the back injury. No, I'm talking about not last year, 2 years ago.
Yeah, the end of the year.
Yeah, he got hurt in that Cowboys game in Dallas, and then the next week they beat the Rams in L.A. They were like 12-point underdogs, I think. Then they beat Houston. Then they, get into the playoffs with a win against Washington and some help. Then they beat the Bears on that on the double doink, and then could have beat the Saints the next week, and they got to the second round with a flawed team that year.
Alshon ball right through his hands.
Yeah, could have.
That was his downfall. He started yapping to Josina.
Would have kept that drive going. They were inside the 20, I think, if he caught that ball. So, and then if this happens again like this with a rookie quarterback, nonetheless, that would.
Paul, not to cut off our Eagles talk, but I have a trivia question tonight for you.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
It's let me put up our thing here. Hold on, I got a banner for that. We got our Stump the Fans.
Yeah,
but
go ahead.
we're not much interaction tonight, so it might be just you answering this question. So we'll see. We'll give you a shout here. Let's see.
Okay.
All right. So anybody? It's mainly an Eagles question though.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if I can find the question.
And you got this question. You were coming up with this about 5 minutes before the show. We'll just put it out there.
I might have a little trouble coming up with all of the answers, but I know most of them.
Okay.
This is a 2017 question because we all love to live in the past. So the Eagles traded away 5 players the year that they won the Super Bowl. Can you name those 5 players that they traded away
after the Super Bowl? Right?
That year to get there, I believe. The year to get there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the one addition was Jay Ajayi.
All right. They traded away. So they had to trade away 5 players.
They didn't trade a player in that deal. I think that was a 4th-round pick.
I'm looking right now. The Ajayi deal was a 2018 4th-round pick, yes.
Yeah. Which even that was too much. Because, he got hurt then. I don't even think was even part of the Super Bowl. Blount was a big part. I thought Blount really had.
I think, and then the next year he got hurt. I don't think he played a lot.
Blount, yeah, he got hurt the following year. Then Blount was the big performer in the Super Bowl, though.
Okay, so in August they made August 11th.
Oh, you're talking about that going into that 2017 season,
and it could be during the year as well.
Yeah.
So
I know they made a couple deadline deals.
In August, they made 3 of these deals of the 5.
Okay. Wow.
And this guy is none of these guys are on the team right now.
I probably figured that.
1, 2, 3, 4 of these things happen in this month.
In August.
Of that.
Wow.
Before the year started of the Super Bowl year.
Howie made a lot of moves in August that year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! Why do I forget?
I can help you with a couple. So they acquired a cornerback, and they traded away somebody else.
They acquired Nate Sudfeld?
No.
No?
A cornerback, CB.
Oh, corner.
This gentleman is no longer on the team either. Think of Jim Schwartz.
Yeah. No, it wasn't Leotis McKelvin, was it?
Nope.
That was the year before.
Yep. Dude, your mind is scrambled eggs right now.
I think he was. I almost feel like he was a Buffalo player, though.
Yeah, he was. Okay, so they acquired Ronald Darby for who?
Darby.
For who?
Was this the Jordan Matthews trade?
That's one of them.
Yeah.
And a 3rd-round pick.
I remember that, and everybody's like, "Oh, you upset Wentz for trading away his buddy."
Yeah.
I remember that.
That was one of the guys who left.
Yeah.
You'll probably never get this one. Matt Tobin went to Seattle. And that was the second one.
Yeah, Seattle. Who did they trade away then? They traded a player?
No. Acquired a 2018 5th-round pick from Seattle in exchange for Matt Tobin and a 7th-round pick. Okay? Then, you probably won't get this one either. Acquired Dexter McDougal. Do you remember who it was for?
That was with the Jets.
Who's no longer on the team.
Right? The Dexter McDougal came from the Jets, and
we traded away a safety. I don't even think he played.
Yeah, man, I remember the trade, but it was a relevant player, pretty much.
Terrence Brooks.
Yeah,
and then
they
also traded somebody to the Saints that year for a 7th-round pick. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. Is this the long snapper?
Yes, it was.
Why did I forget his name?
The Magician.
The Magician. Oh, my God. I don't know.
Dorenbos.
Oh, yeah, John Dorenbos.
There is a 5th one on here, but I don't know where it is.
That's a shame, though, because we know what happened to Dorenbos literally right after that. So.
Well, they still got a ring, so.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good gesture, but I mean, they traded him away and they find out he has a. But they said that saved his life because he wouldn't have gotten another physical to find out that situation.
That.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
So things happen for a reason, right?
Yep, absolutely. There was one. Apparently, there's one other one on here. It might be earlier in the year. Traded Alan Barbary to Denver for a conditional pick.
Alan Barbary.
That was the other one.
That was I think that was the last of the chip players, I think.
And it's funny because Marcus Smith got waived that year. Another first round pick who got waived.
Seattle picked him up, I think.
Yeah. He got waived. For Seattle briefly. Unbelievable. If you look at the transactions in 2017, how released Ryan Matthews.
One of their big signings that year was Patrick Robinson.
Yeah. Well, he didn't last too much longer.
No, but he had a great year.
He did have a good year. They also acquired Dane Evans and waived Dorial Green Beckham that year.
Dorial Green Beckham.
We were just talking about him.
The year before, they gave up Dennis Kelly, who was actually not a bad – it actually turned out to be a pretty decent guard for the Tennessee Titans. I don't know how he would have factored in here with Brooks and Salamalu, but –
Actually, listen to this. So – they obviously signed their draft class. It was Sidney Jones, who's no longer on the team. Russell Douglas, no longer on the team. Mac Hollins, no longer on the team. Donnell Pumphrey, no longer on the team. Shelton Gibson, Nathan Gary.
Yeah. Gary's still on the team, but he stinks.
Yeah, he stinks. And
wow. They talk about some of the turnover
the rookie free agents that they signed were Corey Clement, who's still there.
Yeah.
And Cameron Johnston, who's still punting. And Greg Ward, who's actually still there. So the rookie free agents – they kept 3 of them over the guys they drafted. Imagine that.
Yeah, the rookie free agents are still on the team. Yeah. Which is rare for rookie free agents to last that long, you know?
Yes.
So how he pulls some out of his, I guess, behind, but for the most part. Yeah, I mean, listen, that year it just seemed like everything came together as far as some of those moves like Patrick Robinson. Chris Long was a good signing. Just talking about veteran leadership type guys, LeGarrette Blount, as late in the offseason as they got him, ended up being an important piece to that team. Torrey Smith, even. I mean, these guys were, after that, Torrey Smith's no longer in the league. Chris Long retired just last year. Blount just retired recently and has been out of the league a couple years. Golden
Tate, Jeremy put Tate.
That was the year after.
Third round pick.
2018.
Yeah, for Detroit. After Detroit. Tard, I put the question up too late, and I didn't have time to type it, so that's what that is. I don't know what he's saying here. I didn't get a chance to read the shit. Do you think the Eagles would have ever taken Mixon quite a butterfly ball? If Mixon didn't beat the crap out of his girlfriend in a bar, I think they probably would have taken him.
Yeah, I think, listen, Sidney Jones –
they took a flyer on him. Listen, he was a first-round talent, and they got
a first-round talent that got hurt with Achilles injury. I don't have a problem with that pick. I have more of a problem with Barnett not being worthy of a top 15 pick than I do with the Sidney Jones pick.
Barnett actually ended up working out, but I don't think he's worthy of that high of a pick that he was. But
injury, I think the injury thing really.
Listen, we all hated the Brandon Graham pick too up until 4 years ago.
Yeah, Brandon Graham, ended up. When you thought that he was going to be one and done in Philly.
One of the best defensive linemen in Eagles history.
Well, the longest tenured right now.
He's one of the best, right? Though, if you think about it. I'm not talking about Reggie White and stuff, but
no.
But listen,
he's having one of his better years this year at like 32, right? 32
he should make the Pro Bowl this year for what that's worth, but
he ain't going to be no Pro Bowl, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm saying.
I don't think they'll just name a team. They'll name a team. Yeah.
This is his best chance. He's having his best year right now. So,
yeah, no, he's having one of his better seasons for sure. But yeah, that's good. That's a good question. I can't believe some of these guys that this just literally happened. 3.5 years ago, and it seems like it's ancient history now.
Since Jeremy's on, we're going to move to the NBA, and LiAngelo Ball was released. What's that deal that you have with Hav there for the Ball brothers? Got to let me know about that. But anyway, we're getting to some Sixers talk, and we'll sprinkle that in here a little bit with sprinkles over here. James Harden's name keeps coming up in this, preseason / I guess he's holding out in the Rockets camp, but he needs like 55 negative tests to come back.
I think he just finally cleared it. Yeah.
Okay, so he got his 28 tests to come back.
6. You need 6 negative tests
in a row.
And he's supposed to be playing tomorrow night. I don't know. They said
the latest from what we're hearing is obviously, because any Philadelphia team, everybody wants their best players in any trade. So they're talking about Ben Simmons and 3 number 1 picks for James Harden. That's the latest rumor to get him now. Now, the thinking would probably be if you hold out a little longer, the value of that trade might go down. They might not be asking for as much. Daryl Morey seems to want to keep Ben and Joel.
There's no rush to make this trade. So
right, there's no rush to make this trade. But I'll turn my question to you.
Mm-hmm.
A, would you do Ben and 3 first-rounders for Harden? No. And B, what is the final piece to this team that they need to win a championship?
I honestly...
You said no very quickly.
Yeah, I wouldn't do Ben and 3 first-round picks because my feeling is people wouldn't mind giving up Ben. But I think that right now the Rockets don't have really that much leverage because right now, yes, he wants to go to the Nets too, or the Bucks or the Heat. You hear a couple teams, but no, none of those teams are really biting. So the Rockets right now are in a situation where they really don't have any leverage. They're trying to create leverage, but it's not working. So right now, I think the Sixers can wait this out as long as they can. You don't need to put. You don't need to put Ben in this. I mean, I think Morey has said and steadfast with, and I like the plan of see these 2 guys, these 2 young guys that you invested a lot in, and Embiid and Simmons can play together and can develop still together with a new head coach coming in, an experienced head coach that's won a lot of games and has an NBA championship in Doc Rivers. And, now you bring in a couple shooters, surround him like a Seth Curry and Danny Green. Hopefully that you can, you can a little bit more. They did struggle shooting out on the outside last year. In this day and age in the NBA, you got to be very efficient shooting the 3 ball. If not, it's going to be tough to win. So I think they'll wait this out. I don't know. I mean, Harden obviously has had a lot of success in this league and is one of the best scorers there is. And maybe he's going to go down as one of the best of all time when it's all said and done. But he's another guy that's never been to an NBA. Well, he went to one NBA final in 2012 when he was with Durant and had that stacked team early in his career with Thunder. But since he's been with the Rockets and it's been his show, he hasn't been able to get past a loaded Warriors team or anything like that. So he's come up small in the playoffs too in his career. So I don't know. I mean, obviously it'd be great to have somebody like that because then you don't have to worry. You have obviously a much better natural scorer compared to Ben and Joel. But I think I give these 2 young players another chance and see what happens. That's really where I stand right now. I don't think though the Rockets wanted Tobias Harris. Like who else is going to be? Is it going to be Matisse Thybulle and Tyrese Maxey, their first-round pick this year, that they're going to have to give up? Like that's the only other 2 young pieces I feel like the Rockets would even want, along with those probably multiple first-round picks still. So
you got to remember the NBA is contracts for contracts. Really, it's you got to match up money. You got to match up. So
but it's not a hard cap.
Tobias is making a lot of money, so they're going to want to take that on too. So I mean, I know Harden's making a lot, but
but Harden's only got what this year and next year.
He has 2 years.
I think he has 2 years, and why Tobias has 4 years left. He just signed a 5-year max last year.
Yeah, good
so
job.
He's got 40 years left. At
Somehow
least they were able to give up. Yeah, they gave up Horford. Obviously, you take that you gave up one of the 2 bad contracts, and I guess Doc, with his history with Tobias and with the Clippers, maybe he thinks he can get him to be more consistent. So we'll see. I don't know. But Yeah, I wouldn't be in a rush, to do anything right now, and we'll see. I mean, it's going to be a staring contest. Houston's going to be insistent on wanting, Ben and wanting a Kyrie Irving probably in Brooklyn, but I don't think they're going to want to do that. And who knows in Miami? Obviously it's not going to be Butler, but who else would it be in Miami they would want? Milwaukee, obviously outside Giannis, who would be the other guys that they would want. So,
Dragic just re-signed, right?
Yeah, Dragic re-signed. I think they pretty much brought that team from last year back, so that went to the final.
Jimmy B.
Yeah. So obviously it's he's the one that wants, one of his teams is the Sixers. Probably you have to figure the Morey connection. But at the same time, do you think Houston – he didn't leave Houston on great terms. He left. So do you think Houston wants to do him a favor?
No.
Personally, that's the other thing you got to keep in mind.
Well, they got rid of Westbrook for what? Wall in the first round?
Nah.
I think it was Wall in the first.
Yeah,
right?
but it was like a protected first round in like 2025 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But, yeah, well,
right, we'll get into more Sixers talk and
yeah,
NBA.
Sixers start their they got their first preseason game tomorrow night against the Celtics at home. That game's on TNT, so get a little taste of maybe what the team looks like tomorrow night. First official game, the regular season starts December 23rd against the Wizards, so everything will get underway here in 9 days. So it's coming quick. And what the NHL is going to start now, is it official January 13th, or they're still?
I believe that's what it is. Yeah, I believe so.
They're still. I don't know if it's official or not. We're going to have the only person in the world that cares about hockey to chime in on that.
Our correspondent.
So yeah, we'll go now to
Phil. We got Phillies. We got Phillies, and we got one matchup in college football to talk about.
Yeah, let's touch on the Phillies. Bringing in their first ever, as far as a title, bringing in their first president of baseball operations in Dombrowski. Your thoughts on the hire? Obviously, two-time World Series champion with the Red Sox, obviously just years ago. The Marlins, Tigers. He took to the World Series by 2012. So what's your thoughts on bringing him in? Obviously, Dave Dombrowski traditionally isn't great with farm systems. Is very aggressive as a overall bringing in veteran talent, making trades, things of that nature. Not necessarily big on the player development side of it. But what's your thoughts on this hire?
Well, I listened to my buddy Jack Fritz on my way home from school, and him, Marks and Reese.
I thought you listened to his podcast.
Yeah, well, no, I listen to him. He chimes in on the Marks and Reese show, even though he's a producer. They always get him involved. He does not like this at all for the Phillies, and he said that to us.
I know he's been,
He said that this is more of a win now, like restructure what has happened here, trade away your young guys, and bring in older guys to win now.
He said retool. We're not rebuilding, we're retooling.
It's not a traditional rebuild, and that's why he doesn't want this guy, And there has been a stigma with this guy that, and listen, you win a title, regardless of how you do it.
Yeah.
But I think the problem is that he's not doing it the correct way. It's almost like, all right, let's win a title. I don't care if it sets us back 5 to 7 years. We're going to just win a title, and who cares? We're going to see how we do it.
Well, I think right now, personally, I think they're already in it. As far as you brought in Harper, you're not going to now go 2 years later after signing Harper, just going to decide to rebuild. I understand and value. Listen, they just hired a new scouting department, basically, a new scouting director this past year. That was his first draft. They brought in a big arm in Mick Abel, the kid from Oregon State. We'll see how he pans out. There was only 6 rounds, I think, in this past draft. So, there was only so much somebody like that could do. but let him do his thing. I think Dombrowski brought up the Abel kid and mentioned him as part of the future. They're not gonna trade an Alec Boehm, at this point. I mean, we saw what in a sample size 45 games or whatever he played this past season, how good he's going to be. It looks like
rookie of the year in 45 games. Which is
nice.
Nice.
He was runner up in the rookie of the year, I believe. Right? I think he finished second in the voting.
Real quick before we get, we have a betting question. We know you like to chime in on this. Listen, I'm going to give you a pick tonight.
Well, the Browns are getting 3 at home.
I'm going to give you a pick tonight. It's pretty much just based on what I think, and I really don't think that the Ravens are that good. I would take Browns on the money line tonight.
See, that line's a Ravens line?
It is a Ravens line.
Yeah.
I just feel like I think it's overvalued tonight. I think that everybody's going to see Ravens always take care of the Browns. I think it's a little bit different now.
Yeah, Ravens blew them out in week 1. What was it, like 38-6?
I think that Cleveland needs this game bad. Bad.
Yeah, from people believing that, even after their win against the Titans last week, still people are, wanting to see it again. Listen, they're 9-3. Running game has been tremendous this year, with Hunt and Chubb coming back healthy. I honestly like Baltimore tonight. Still, just going by the line, what's that telling me? I mean, I thought that should be closer to even, that line tonight. Yeah. The Ravens aren't playing lights out by any means. They did win convincingly last Tuesday against Dallas, but you have to still, Lamar Jackson isn't the same player that he was last year. So, they still have a lot of things to prove. And obviously, I think the Ravens need this game more from a standpoint that they're outside the playoff picture at 7-5 right now. So they need these games. It looks like in the AFC, they have to win 10 games probably to make the playoffs in the AFC, it looks like, because the Colts are 9-4 now. Dolphins are 8-5, so I think they are the 7th seed right now, and the Browns are 5 seed at 9-3. So the Ravens win tonight, and then they're right knocking on the door there with Miami. So I think they need this game more than the Browns, even though obviously I understand from a Browns perspective, that signature win on a Monday night, they don't get too many of these opportunities to play on these national stages. So they got this game, and then they got the Giants on Sunday night. They just flexed in this Sunday night.
Should we ask for this of the Chalk Army what he's taking tonight?
Baltimore needs to win much more than Cleveland, which I just said, so that means Dan.
What is the general of the Chalk Army taking tonight? General Tisberg.
I didn't even see what he said, but I just said after I just
assume he's taking Baltimore if he said Baltimore needs this win much more. General Tisberg.
Yeah, but the final thoughts on the Phillies thing. I mean, listen, the free agency still – it's a snail's pace. Everybody's waiting right now to see whether or not what type of season it's going to be. Are they going to allow some fans? Is there going to be no fans again? Now that the vaccines are coming, maybe going to see some progress and stability here, and then shut these cases down. But I think just baseball didn't make money this past year. They are very reliant on fans in the seat. They didn't get that. So you got a lot of teams that don't want to spend. It's not just, John Middleton. And I think John Middleton was really the one that is actually vocal about it. And then you have the other 29 owners that are quiet and aren't doing anything either. It's not like the man that just took over the Mets, the richest owner in baseball by a lot, and Steve Cohen. It's not like he's doing a ton. He decided not to go after JT Realmuto, and he signed James McCann 4 years, $40 million.
Better for us.
So that people now think that this opens the door for, even if JT signs like in March, which we're probably heading to that direction because he's not going to get anywhere near, unfortunately, what he desires, $150 million or whatever. I don't think he's going to get that. Maybe the Phillies can end up signing him for $100 million and be all right with it. I don't know, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I think my thing is, you bring in Dave Dombrowski. You're not bringing him in to not, put the rubber stamp on at least making some moves. I'm not saying you're not going to have the $207 million payroll that they had pre-March, but I think, if you stay around that 190 to 200, what's the difference? Didi Gregorius, you got to replace somebody at shortstop until Bryson Stott is ready. The kid waiting in the wings, the kid from that they drafted from UNLV, Bryce Harper's buddy. So I think he's about a year or two away, but they need a shortstop right now, and they need a catcher, and they're going to need some. I think the big thing is the emphasis of the bullpen, and he did say he values bringing in a veteran closer. So we'll see. Is it going to be a Heath Bell who's out there right now,
or no?
Josh Hader?
Is he still? Was he available? Wasn't he? I thought
he was arbitration eligible.
Who was the closer that became available?
The Indians. Heath, right? Yeah.
It wasn't a Hader. Who was I thinking of? No, it wasn't. I can't think of his name. Did he resign though?
Who? Hader?
It wasn't Hader. Not the guy from Milwaukee. The guy from Cleveland. What was his name? I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Yeah, it was Heath Bell, I thought. No, never mind.
Heath Bell used to pitch for San Diego.
Yeah. What's his name? Brad Hand.
That's it. Yeah, Brad Hand. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. That's a guy that I could see them. They ended up non-tendering him, right? They didn't give him a contract or they didn't pick up his option because Cleveland is not only not good at the Indians after 2021. I heard
don't want to spend. They might be the Cleveland Spiders. They used to be that. They might go back to the Spiders.
But they're the Indians for one more year, and then they're going to figure out a new name.
The Cleveland baseball team.
But Brad Hand would be what would fit the bill of a veteran closer type, and bringing him in for 3 or 4 years at $40 million. I don't know, something like that. I could see the Phillies doing something like that, but then they obviously have to add a couple other arms. Would you want another guy in a rotation? They brought Vince Velasquez back, so that's another nightmare and a half. And this was before Dombrowski came in.
Yeah.
So I wonder what Dombrowski would have done with that decision of keeping Velasquez or not.
Yeah.
That's funny that happens a week prior to him hiring him. So,
terrible.
We'll see how things go, but they finally do bring in an experienced general manager, president of baseball operations, a front office guy that they desperately need. I don't know if it's the right one, but at least they signed him to like 4 years or 5 years, or was it 4 for 20? So he's getting $5 million a year. So obviously, if Middleton was willing to spend some money on a front office guy, I think it tells me at least a little bit. I'm not saying he's opened up the checkbook and spending stupid money.
Right.
I think he's still gonna do some things here to make this team. Listen, right now they're a 500 team on paper still. They've been a 500 team the last 3 years. That has to end. They're like stuck in neutral right now between being really bad and at least being good enough to be a playoff team, and they're nowhere near being a World Series contender. So that's the problem. So,
right.
Yeah, so lastly, we'll touch on the college football thing. Part 2, we've been talking about part 2 probably happening for a while. Notre Dame and Clemson, an ACC title game, Saturday at 4 o'clock start from Charlotte. So it's the Bank of America Stadium and with the home of the Carolina Panthers. I think they're allowing about 15,000 in the stands for that game. I can't believe Clemson's like 10.5 point favorites. It's beyond me. As well as Notre Dame has played, especially in that win against North Carolina a couple weeks ago. I don't know. What's your thoughts on the second meeting between these two teams?
We kind of touched on this before we went on the air here. Don't know. Is Trevor Lawrence moving this line that much that
Because what was it, 6.5 the first time?
Ugalele played pretty good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is that really the driving force behind this? Do they just think that Notre Dame can't beat them a second time? Do they think Notre Dame doesn't belong there? And you even said that you're thinking with 2 losses, Clemson could still get into the national championship, into the top 4.
I think now that Florida lost the second game, even if they somehow upset Alabama, which it doesn't look like anybody's going to beat Alabama, but I mean, let's just be real. I don't know. I mean, listen, Ohio State now gets their chance. Big Ten gave them an exception. I'm fine with it because,
I'm not.
Number one, it wasn't their fault that they didn't play the game. And Michigan had the cases. And number two, it's a business decision for the Big Ten. They know that their biggest chance –
Iowa and they're playing there besides Northwestern.
Well, they know their only chance of getting somebody in the playoff is Ohio State.
Right.
A Northwestern win against an Iowa was not going to do it, or Iowa vice versa. Let's be real. Iowa's not getting in the top 4. Northwestern's not getting in the top 4. Indiana's not getting in the top 4. It comes down to Ohio State, even in the 5 games they played this year, still shows they have one of the best quarterbacks in the country, still some of the best collection of talent, that they're still belong in that conversation, and they're going to prove themselves. And if they beat Northwestern by 45 points on Friday night, or was it Saturday at noon, then yeah. So I mean that's my feeling on it as far as Ohio State being in the picture. Still, I don't have a problem with it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Like I said, I kind of feel a little indifferent about it. I don't really think it's fair to Iowa or Northwestern or any of the teams that have played a lot of games. Not like you said, though. It's not Ohio State's fault. But how do you have 5 games played or whatever it is, and you're in the top 4? You have teams that are 9-0, 10-0, 10-1, 9-1, who are like 13.
Yeah, listen, Big Ten started later than every other conference but the Pac-12. And this year wasn't going to be fair. I mean, let's just be real. I mean, we've seen games get canceled. Notre Dame has had a game canceled because of COVID. Clemson had a game get canceled because of COVID. Alabama's had their issues. I mean, every team has seemed to have at least one game that they had an issue. So this year wasn't going to be fair from that perspective. It was going to be the survival of the fittest. I personally think push comes to shove. Who are you going to put in this? A&M? You think A&M belongs in? I mean, A&M's having a nice season with the 1 loss.
Florida probably would have been the team, honestly.
But Florida lost to LSU. Now, man, they take themselves out. I mean, beat LSU. Win a game you're supposed to win. And they didn't. So the conversation's over.
Who throws a shoe, honestly?
Yeah. And that was a hell of a 57-yard field goal in the fog.
Cade York, that was smoked that ball through.
He's better than most NFL kickers.
He's better than Jake Elliott.
Yeah.
He's better than Alex Henry.
So my personal opinion is I don't see anybody else that really belongs. Like, I mean, Cincinnati, I know they had a nice season. They've been derailed by COVID now too, but I don't think when you match up Cincinnati against these top 4 teams that maybe would be competitive, but I still think they would lose. They wouldn't be able to beat Notre Dame, Clemson, Ohio State. They just wouldn't. So you just got to look at the eye test sometimes. And the traditional – I mean, listen, it just – yeah, there was no – I guess people think you're looking for solutions of a fairer and more objective type of, I guess, evaluation of this season. It just wasn't going to happen. So people want to see Ohio State still. I think everybody wants maybe a little bit different matchups. I guess maybe people are tired of seeing Clemson a little bit. Notre Dame, maybe not so much, because Notre Dame is like every other year. It seems like they get into this picture. They don't do it every year, but they do it every other year. They were just in it 2 years ago. So, we'll see what happens. I mean, I guess I would have a problem if a team in the Pac-12 was playing tremendous. Like USC is the best team in the Pac-12, and I don't think they're that great. UCLA should have beat you. Yeah, UCLA should have beat them. The Big Ten is really just. I know Iowa's a nice team, and Northwestern's had a nice season, and Indiana's had a nice season, but they're not elite programs, and Wisconsin's not having a good year.
Iowa is having a pretty good year, though.
Yeah, Iowa is. Yes, but do you think if they play
top 4 worthy?
Right, you got to put it that way. Are they top 10? Yeah, they could be a top 10 team. Indiana could be a top 10 team this year.
Yeah, but I think a team like Iowa can hang with Ohio State. I do. They might not be able to score with them, but they're good enough on defense they can stop them.
I'm just happy that Georgia's not in this picture. Now you got that person that doesn't go on any shows anymore, but we know who we're talking about, who's a Georgia fan. Finally started watching the games again because they have actually a decent quarterback in JT Daniels. Oh, watch out for next year. You're going to get crushed by Clemson the first game. Yeah, now you want to talk. You didn't care for the last month and a half of the season.
Wow, last minute of this show is getting just ripping.
So that's my final comments on the evening on college football, and we'll talk about this game next week. And obviously the selection shows on Sunday. So by this time next week, we'll know for sure the top 4, and then New Year's Day will be here before you know it.
Yes, it will.
For those big games. So
got some prop bets for tonight.
Yeah, let's hear them.
Well, I've been pretty stellar with the first score of the games and stuff like that. So I'm going to give you a first score of the game prop tonight. Go Jarvis Landry plus 800. I actually think it's more. I think it's 1,000 actually. Jarvis Landry first score of the game. There you go. You got anything, Paul? You said you liked Baltimore, right?
Yes, we'll go with is Mark Andrews even playing tonight?
Playing.
Okay, he's back from COVID.
Well, you don't have to give me a first score prop if you know.
Yeah, we'll go with him. Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews. Oh,
I think Lamar misses him. Bring back his tight end. So.
Yeah. All right. We'll have to see how these play out. I'm taking them. I like the Browns plus on the money line.
Wow, Saturday also there's 2 NFL games, but they suck actually. The games, Broncos,
Saturday?
Yeah, Broncos, Bills, and
terrible.
Panthers and Packers. So actually, college is actually fortunate that the 2 NFL games are not good on paper.
Excellent.
So. All right, that's it for tonight. Thanks everybody that chimed in here on another edition of Unsportsmanlike Conduct. And we will be back with you next Monday night. And actually, it will just be 4 days before Christmas. So everybody's getting their Christmas shopping done.
Yes.
And wrapped up soon because Christmas is here in just 11 days. So, it is coming quick. Holiday season here.
Yes.
And a lot to talk about again next week. So thanks, everybody, for joining us tonight. And everybody have a great week ahead. We'll see you next time here on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Thank you for watching the Sports Box. Follow us on Facebook at Sports Box Show, Twitter at Sports Box Show, Instagram at The Sports Box Show. Find us on YouTube and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our friends at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use promo code THEBOX at sign up for 10 points. See you next time.